Welcome to Gareth Jones on Speed. I am Gareth Jones. With me today...
Hello, I'm Richard Porter.
Richard just got back from the Geneva Auto Show. Is that what they call it? Auto Salon?
The Auto Salon, yes, at the Palexpo in Geneva. Just one day there, but one's enough. The genius of Geneva is that it's a very small show, so you can walk around it in a day.
You're going to start with the big headline news. Maserati have made something rather nice, haven't they?
Yeah, the Gran Turismo, which is the replacement for the Maserati Coupe, which was frankly never particularly good. The thing about the Maserati is I always think motor shows, I used to go to motor shows when I was a kid, and Jaguar XJ220, that kind of thing, make you leap up and down with excitement.
Yeah.
The Mazda was the one that made me leap up and down with excitement, because you might have seen the photos of it, and I don't think the photos entirely do it justice. It's a very elegant car.
Having not seen it in the flesh, unlike you, my impression of it is that this thing is lower and flatter than an Elise and broader than a Diablo or something.
It's probably not, that's the thing. It's not a small car, but it just has this fantastically sharky nose. And then, in the pictures, the back looks, to my mind, a little bit too low. But actually, it just gives us this elegance. And I think, when they do the convertible, that will be storming, because they'll take the roof off and it'll be such a pretty, pretty car.
And it's the first car, the Gran Turismo, the Maserati Gran Turismo, as far as I know, is the first car to be named after a video game, apart from, of course, the Vauxhall Bandicoot.
And there was also the Peugeot Chucky Egg.
The Peugeot Chucky Egg, I forgot about that. And the... it was Reliant Sonic the Hedgehog, was it? Was it Reliant?
Replaced the Jet Set Willy in their range.
No. Very good.
Stop being silly now.
No, okay, let's be really silly. Because perhaps the rival from the pictures I've seen in terms of the most beautiful car at the show in Geneva there, to rival the Gran Turismo, perhaps the 8C Competizione, the Alfa Romeo.
Oh, good God.
Now, we do like Italian sports cars, don't we?
If we're talking about actually jumping up and down with excitement like a 5-year-old, the 8C Competizione was just stunning, and actually
what colour was it there?
Well, it was black, and all the pictures in the magazines and the newspapers have been of a red car. It was black with a red leather interior, and it has a very, very tiny boot with just basically a little slot, like a VHS cassette slot in the back, but they make fitted luggage for it. The fitted luggage was red leather, and all the interior was red leather, and it was black. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful it distracted people from the most beautiful girls at the motor show, which were on the Alfa Romeo stand.
No, let me just get this clear here. Alfa Romeo, Italian company?
Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
Can I tell you something else as well? A very senior executive from a very large car company. I was talking to him and I said, what's your tip for the show? And he said, get yourself over to the Alfa Romeo stand, because some of the girls are wearing very, very short skirts and the floor is very, very polished.
Oh, no,
and that was his tip for the show, and I was expecting him to say, come and look at our new product, it's world beating. Yeah. But no, that was his cheeky tip off the record. And
you can't tell me which large corporation he works for?
I couldn't possibly tell you, because he was actually a really nice guy, and I wouldn't want to betray confidence. But he was Blue Oval. And
Gareth Jones on Speed. Lovely. Now, while we're talking about beauty, there's a new coupe. We mentioned two gorgeous coupes.
Mm-hmm.
There's another coupe, in fact, a couple I want to talk about at Geneva. The first one, perhaps not as beautiful, in my opinion, as it could be, the Audi A5, the new Audi coupe.
Yeah, actually incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. I don't know what it's like to drive. This is the first car that's going to be built on this new Audi chassis that has got the engine moved backwards so that the balance of the car is more like a rear-wheel drive car, even though it'll be front or four-wheel drive. So they've spent a load of money doing that, and then they've just dropped on a body that just sort of looks like a two-door A4, really, but with this really odd line that runs down the side of it that is sort of like a Bentley. It sort of swoops over the front wheel arch and then dips down across the doors and then swoops back up over the rear wheel arches. Look at a Bentley Continental GT, you know what I mean? That kind of line.
Yeah.
So you stick that on there, but essentially it's a Audi-ish, blocky, sensible, square-cut car. So it'd be like taking some kind of cubist painting and then just doing some kind of doodling or a sort of impressionist art over the top of it. It's just odd, and the line doesn't fit with the rest of the car, but fundamentally it's incredibly dull. just a very square-cut two-door saloon with a typical Audi interior. It's incredibly well made, but just a bit dull.
But these things don't happen by accident, do they? I reckon that the whole reason for Audi inferring that they've got a slight likeness to Bentley, because they can do that, they're both part of the VAG group. You know, they're aspiring up.
Well,
their
maybe,
ladders.
but why
Deliberate.
stop at Bentley? Why not aspire to Lamborghini? They own them as well. Just go completely nuts and give it vents on the wings that open up when it gets hot. I don't know.
Or even Bugatti.
I think they just went to... Well, exactly. They could have
Why
done that.
don't they remarket the Audi
1,000
A2 with a 1,000 horsepower V16 quad turbo engine? Isn't it?
Make it more interesting. I don't know why they've done it. I think they went on a visit to Crewe and they saw what they were up to and went, oh yes, we like this. This is nice. So we will
Oi,
take
come
it.
back with that.
And just oi. And then
That's
they just
our
glued
grease.
it on, and so and they just probably left Bentley with some really nice door handles or something. So yeah, it's the Audi A5, disappointing car because it could have been, I think, quite cool. You remember the Audi Quattro in the 80s, and even the Audi Coupe, which is a sort of baby version. Still quite a cool car.
Do you know how cool the Audi Quattro is? Right? Jimmy Lee from Slade had one.
Really?
That's how cool.
I did not know that. I was going to say Walter Roll, but yeah.
Oh, he had one, yeah, and I think Hannu Mikkola had one, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And Michel Mouton as well. They all had them. Company cars, though. It's not the same. Didn't spend the money on them.
All right, the final coupe in this block, BMW. Now, we have an interesting relationship with BMW, you and I, actually. I think we both feel the same. There are some horrible-looking BMW cars, aren't there? I don't have to name them. There's some really very badly.
7 Series.
Thank you. Or even the slightly overinflated quality of the current 5.
I quite like the 5.
If you go up the range,
Yeah, you have to have big wheels on it, good colour.
But with the steel wheels, it just looks like someone just left a blancmange out there. Is that a blancmange or
Someone's
a BMW?
dropped a blancmange on these casters. Why have they done that?
Oh, no, it's a BMW 5 Series.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't make great-looking cars, but by gum they go, don't they? And the M Series goes, and there's a new M3.
There's a new M3 was released at Geneva after months of speculation. And
Was there sort of clouds of smoke and angels around it, and were people worshipping it? Like
well, do you know what's funny? Because I was there when they took the covers off it, and they took the covers off at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it was really odd, because you'd spend all day looking at this thing underneath covers, and then at 4 o'clock they whipped the cover off, and there was such a big crowd I couldn't see, so I went off and had a cup of coffee somewhere else, and came back. And it looks terrific. It looks really good. It's sort of quite lumpy. It's got this extraordinarily massive lump in the bonnet, which I think they've done deliberately to say it's got an extraordinarily massive engine, because it's got a V8 now instead of the 6 that it used to have. So it's going to go some sequential flappy paddle gearbox on it and stuff. And it all sounds good. However, I'm saying this as if you can go and buy one tomorrow, and you can't, because this is the bizarre conceit of the BMW M cars, and they've done this before. The M5 and the M6, I think, where they take the cover off and they go, right, here's the new BMW M3 concept, and they pretend, even though it looks like a production car that you can go and buy now, that it's a concept. And I don't understand why BMW do that. They show you this fabulous thing and they go, no, it's a concept.
Do you think this is some kind of mind worm that these BMW people have got, and it's not just in the world of cars, but in other aspects of their life it's probably exactly the same? They're in denial.
Guys, it's so good to have my BMW colleagues round for Sunday lunch.
Hi.
Please sit. I will get the food.
Danke.
This is very kind of you.
Here we are. The roast beef mit roasted potatoes, carrots, peas und gravy.
Oh, it looks excellent.
Such a powerful stance to these sprouts.
The horseradish sauce has a dynamic tension to its lines.
Wait, what are you doing?
Well, we're about to help ourselves to this food.
Nein, this is just a concept lunch.
Was?
This is merely to give you an idea of what the lunch would look like if I was to make it.
But clearly, it looks like lunch.
Nein, it may be lunch at some time in the future, but I cannot possibly comment on this at the present time.
Well, is there anything we can eat right now? What about that disgusting pudding I can see outside?
That is my 7 Series.
Yeah, Sniff Petrol with Gareth Jones on speed. Yeah.
This is Gareth Jones on Speed with not quite live, but sort of a post-facto report of the Geneva Auto Salon, which Richard was at recently. Richard, it's nice to have a chance to talk to you sensibly about cars, because we're usually having a laugh, aren't we?
Having a laugh.
Having a laugh.
Yeah, this is moderately live, and you can tell it's almost live because I'm still incredibly tired from having been at the Geneva show. A lot of walking.
And strudel.
I know, strudel wears me out. Toblerone as well. Exhausting.
And constantly having to wind up swatches. So, right, okay, talking about sensible.
Yeah.
Opel, General Motors, Vauxhall have got a new sensible car that's quite nice, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is nice. It's funny because you walk onto the GM stand, much like you walk onto the Chrysler stand, and you sort of slip on something, you realise it's just puddles of tears.
Aww.
Because they're not doing too well. But in Europe, they've, I think, pulled quite a blinder with a new concept car called the GTC, which is just this very elegant, handsome two-door coupe type thing, which a Vauxhall spokesman told me, sort of semi-officially. He went, "You have a look at that and imagine that it's less blingy and a bit taller, and it's got 2 more doors. That's the new Vectra, that is." Well, to say that's not the new Vectra then, because it's a coupe, but it is a good-looking car, and you can see actually they would be able to stretch it into a Vectra type thing.
Imagine this wheelbarrow, right?
Yeah.
Right, had headlights on it and had an engine and 4 wheels.
Yeah.
It would be a Range Rover. I mean, it's a big
Imagine
stretch.
Luciano Pavarotti. Imagine if he was a lot thinner and taller and better looking. He'd be Harrison Ford.
I knew this sensible conversation about cars at Geneva wouldn't last long. So it looks tidy. I think. Now, who's designing GM's cars these days? Is Wayne Cherry still influencing?
No, he's not, which is a real shame because he did have the best name in car design. No, that's not true actually, because I once interviewed the head of colour and trim at Rover, whose name was Martin Peach.
Or one of the chief designers at Lotus, Mike Carr.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He was born to do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, he wasn't. He'd have been called Mike Cam Station.
Yeah, that's
these days, but, yeah.
Listen, okay, sensible cars. Mondeo. Now,
Mondeo, indeed, Gareth.
You know I love the Ford Motor Company.
Yes.
And I love the sensible Mondeo.
Yes.
I feel a kinship to this car. My dad had 4 Cortinas in a row, and I think if you just draw that line, you get to the Mondeo, right? But the Mondeo, the front end of the new car, cracking.
Yes.
Cracking.
Yes.
The back end, pudding.
Yes, too fat, too much metal going on. However, a little tip, if you want to see a good-looking Mondeo, estate. As is the modern way. The estate is the best-looking of the range, by a mile, actually.
Yeah, well, as I always say, the best thing that happened to estate cars was the MPV.
Which gave them free range and sex it up.
Made them sporty and cool. I love estate cars, always had them, baby.
No, new Mondeo, interesting, because it is top trivia fact for you. It's as big as a Scorpio. Because I don't make Scorpios
Slightly
anymore.
better looking, apart from the bum end.
I think, yes, quite a lot
At the
better
front
looking.
end,
So, big as a Scorpio, and they're making a big deal about it's got more technology than any other car in its class and all this kind of stuff, and it is a handsome thing. The interior is pretty good, as long as you avoid the minging wood that was in one of the Ghia model cars I saw. But the brushed aluminium-y type stuff is all very pleasant. Yeah,
Was the wood in there as a sort of a post-ironic option pack?
I would like to think so.
With a vinyl roof as well?
Yeah, that would be fantastic, yeah, with a multimedia 8-track system of some sort. But no, that would be fabulous. But no, we were talking about this today. I was talking about this with a couple of friends about how Ford cars in the 70s used to be a little bit naughty somehow. A bit, you slag, kind of. A bit. There was a bit of the sort of dodgy geezer about them. The Capri and the Cortina Mark III with a little sort of hip bulge, and the first Granada again, bit sleazy, bit naughty somehow. Geezer.
Yeah.
And they've lost that, and maybe it's because we're getting old and nostalgic, but I sort of miss that. And the Mondeo is anything but. It's very sort of streamlined, Germanic precision engineering, a lot of electronics, a lot of flashing displays on the dashboard. It's a perfectly good car, and I think it probably won't sell because it's not a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi or whatever people want these days.
I was going to say, if I had a choice of a company car, which most Mondeos are, right, you know, given the, what are we talking about, 18 grand here, you might get to spend on a car, say, right, shall I have the BMW or the Mondeo with all the bells and whistles? No, I've got a jumper with the word Gap on it. I wear Armani suits. I like Nike written on my trainers. I want the brand BMW on my car, which is an absolute crying shame because the Mondeo is probably the Mondeo is an equally good car.
Put it this way, we've driven the S-Max when we did the London Grand Prix, and we know the S-Max is a great car.
The best.
And the Mondeo is on the same chassis, and there is no reason to suspect the Mondeo will be anything but a lovely car to drive, and it looks quite nice, particularly the estate. I mean, the estate looks very handsome, and it's just fine. There's nothing wrong with it except that it's a Ford.
You've got a hotline to the Ford Motor Company, haven't you? In that you spent some time with one of the Callums. Now there are two Callums in the Ford empire, aren't there?
There's Ian, who is the head of design or whatever he's called at Jaguar, and there's Moray Callum, who
does the odd Aston Martin.
Oh yeah, he's Mazda, I think now. I can't remember where he's gone now. But no, it's not a hotline. All that happens is occasionally I go to sort of motor industry type parties and things, which sounds more exciting than it is, but it doesn't sound exciting from the start. It's not like I'm hanging out with Oasis or something. But one thing you can guarantee is that
you're hanging out with Iosis.
Hey,
thank you.
But one thing you can guarantee is that you go to a sort of a party thrown by like What Car or something, which I did the other week, and Ian Callum will be there because he's a great bloke to have a drink with and have a bit of a chat and a moan about stuff. And he's brilliant because he's really good value. He's got very, very clever opinions about things, and he's really good at designing cars.
Well, the new Jags are, with the exception of the XJ.
That facelifted XJ, I didn't ask him about that because I did see him at Geneva, and I didn't say, were you out that day? But that CXF concept, the thing that points the way to the new S-Type replacement, which will be called the XF, in real life is stunning. It's a fabulous looking thing.
I'm getting excited because I like the look. I love the grille of that car.
Here's the skinny.
Go on, you got to be quick now.
Because Ian Callum told me that concept shown at Geneva, that's it. They're going to try and put it under a cloth now and not show people because it's done its job. Wait till you see the real thing. It's coming very, very soon. There are dozens and dozens of prototypes out there now testing. They're going all out, crazy testing that car to get it right, and it's coming very, very, very soon. And he promises me it's about 75% like the concept, and it will be good.
Richard, admit it, you're excited?
I am excited.
Good. That's it. You've been listening to Gareth Jones on Speed. We've got to go because we'll be back with another show on March the 18th, the very day that the Formula One season starts in Australia. Within a couple of hours, we hope, of the race being over, there'll be a Gareth Jones on Speed for you to download. Say boom shakalak, Richard.
Hear me now.
And that's it. Bye. Gareth Jones on Speed was a thoroughly sensible production by Whiz Bang.